Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Real Housewives of Potomac review. I'm going to try to give you what I just gave, but my dumb tail recorded the video in slow-mo, and whenever I do that, no matter how I try to edit it, it will not upload. So here I am again, reviewing this show that I feel like I shouldn't be reviewing because if I'm being honest, I've enjoyed watching Salt Lake more than I've enjoyed this show, to the point where while I was under the weather because of my sinuses, I caught up on all of Salt Lake. I never watched it before. And why didn't you all tell me that it was so good? Why didn't you all tell me that the ladies up there were a hot mess? Because I love it. Anyways, at this point, I don't know what is going to come of this show or what is going to happen at the reunion, especially because what do we have to talk about? Ink and Mia are no longer together. Karen is not going to be at the reunion because it was reported that she checked herself into rehab. So what are we here for? Anyways, on to the episode. So, episode begins with it being day 3 of the trip. The ladies are meeting up at Giselle and Stacy's villa, which they're calling the GOAT, for breakfast. According to Giselle, it's her villa and basically Stacy's just a guest. So the ladies are talking about the 4th of July holiday and their kids and their family, and we see them, doing video calls and all those other things. Mia then walks in to the villa like nothing happened the previous night, like she didn't have a little outburst, and she sits beside Giselle. I don't feel like Giselle is angry enough for me about the things that Mia said, because you wouldn't be feeling comfortable enough to sit next to me in that capacity had you spoken about my kid like that. But it's different, and Giselle seems to be more forgiving of Mia. So Stacy and Wendy are speaking about how this is their first holiday away from their kids, whereas for Giselle it's not a big deal because her kids are working, getting extra money for working on the holiday. I hear them speaking and I'm like, okay, I get it. 4th of July is a big deal for some people. But to me, and I'm not negating the holiday, I just feel like a birthday and or Christmas would be a bigger deal. So them being so down about it, I find a little bit confusing. But then again, if I got a clip like what Stacy got of her child with the "I miss you" message from her, it will probably make me sad too. Stacy speaks about how this was like a really, really rough morning for her because today would be 17 years ago, her meeting her husband while on a flight with her mother. It was a significant date because it was the first time her mother and her went somewhere since her father passed. And it also was the birthday of what later became her father-in-law, who now has also passed. So she's just feeling the weight of the day. As I'm hearing Stacy talk about this, I'm realizing just how much I think we've been cheated about getting to know Stacy, because I feel like they gave us this quick thing about this is Stacy. Stacy was married. Stacy's going through divorce. Stacy got a house and apartment. Stacy got this man named TJ who doesn't really like her, but we don't know enough about Stacy because there are things that Stacy, in my opinion, still needs to work on. So Wendy's like, don't worry about it. We got each other. One of the good things about today is there are some activities planned that may help you, get your mind off of things. So she lets all the ladies know we're going to be going on a catamaran. There's going to be kayaks if you want to get off at some point and do the kayaks. And then we'll have our final dinner. Mia then takes this opportunity to give an apology to Giselle about what she said about her daughters. She seems sincere. Look at me. I wanted to say insincere because I don't buy it. She seems sincere, but I personally am questioning it. Y'all tell me what you think. Giselle's like, look, I accept it, but I'm going to remind you that children are off limits. Giselle tells us at this point, Mia better tread lightly. While they're sitting around and finishing up their breakfast, Wendy gets a notification on her phone and she tells the group like, oh, I got this notification about this thing. And she's like, Kierna, did you know that Deborah has countersued you for $7 million. Kierna looks surprised and she's like, no, I didn't know, but it doesn't really matter because, I expected that may be a thing. Either way, for me, there is a criminal case and there is a civil case. But unlike what she's doing, that criminal case can't be thrown out. Deborah took a glass, as we know, and assaulted Kierna. So in their countersuit, even though Deborah took a glass and assaulted Kierna, even though Deborah, in my opinion, was the aggressor, even though Deborah, in my opinion, would not stop and came there to fight based on the fact that she had her hair pulled back in a ponytail and all those other things, Deborah is claiming that Kierna is the aggressor, that Kierna craves fame and attention, and she was the one who leaked the footage to TMZ. Not that there were other people who had leaked the footage, but she's blaming it on her. I personally don't agree. I don't think that Kierna was trying to make things worse. I think that Kierna was trying to de-escalate the situation. And as a result of trying to be there for her friend Candace, she got pulled in. I personally wish that Kierna would have kind of stayed out of it because I don't know if it would have turned into what it did. Because Candace is not a fighter. Maybe it would have been more of like a Candace and Monique situation. I don't know, but I don't think it would have been that. So Kierna's like, at this point, she want to do that. That's on her. So Giselle wants to know, like, Kierna, are you worried about this affecting your case? And Kierna says no. She said that doesn't have anything to do with it. Like, she's not worried about it. Ashley lets Kierna know that although Deborah was, or is, because I'm not sure where Ashley stands, her friend, currently her friendship with Kierna is her priority. She doesn't condone violence and she feels bad about what happened since she invited Deborah to the event. I personally do not feel like Ashley is responsible, but I will stand on the fact that Ashley had knowledge that Deborah was going to come there to cause a problem. It was the way certain things were said. It was the way that she asked if the cameras were down and things of that nature. And it just so happens that right after we ask if the cameras are down, that's when Deborah decides that she's going to do all this stuff. I think that it was planned. I just think that it backfired because it wasn't supposed to happen with Kierna. It was supposed to happen with Candace because Candace is the one who runs her mouth but doesn't have hands. Whereas Kierna stepped in and it turned into something else. So the subject of Greg comes up. Kierna says, like, every time I'm getting ready to leave out to hang out with you ladies, he always says something about, making sure that I don't get into any fights or anything like that. For me personally, given the severity of the situation, given the fact that that lady was struck in her head with glass and she had to get stitches, I personally would get annoyed if my man kept saying to me, like, don't get into a fight, reminding me of this traumatic event that I'm already very much so aware of every time I look in the mirror or take a picture or anything like that. Or even when I'm around these ladies, because she said that. That's one of the things that Kierna said is like, yeah, I'm constantly reminded of it. He thinks that the ladies fight a lot. And she said, he felt really bad about what happened to the point where he took her to Paris for, I think she said for like a week, or I can't remember if it was a week after, but he took her to Paris for a vacation trip to help her feel better. Now, I'm a little confused about the nature of the trip because Kierna's presenting it like he took her on the trip to make her feel better, whereas at some point in the episode, Ashley says that the trip had already been planned for a long time, and Ashley felt bad because Kierna was alluding to the fact that, she thought that Greg would be proposing on that trip. And I don't know, like, what the true timeline was. Like, Kierna, did you know about the trip for months or was it just planned? So all the ladies leave to get ready for the boat with the exception of Ashley. She stays back to talk to Giselle. Giselle wants to know if Ashley's okay. I don't quite understand why. I don't know if it's because she got an energy off of Ashley while they were in the room, if it was because she severed ties with Deborah, or if it was because Ashley is still connected to Deborah. I don't quite understand where Ashley stands. Ashley said on the reunion last year that she was going to pull away, but did she truly? So Ashley's like, look, I'm just finding myself at this place where I'm questioning, myself and, my gauge on my friendships, because I'm wondering if I have a bad picker, basically, because I pick people and it seems that those people like have issues. Like, am I a poor judge of character because of, look at what's happened with my husband, Michael, and how that turned out. And now look at what's happened with Deb. I considered, her to be a best friend or a close friend. And look at how that's turned out. And I'll answer the question for you, Ashley. Yes, your picker was off when it came to those people, but you fumbled. You're human. Learn from it and, move on in whatever way you can. I don't think you should, beat yourself up about everything. But when things like this happen in life, it's only natural to reevaluate, your friendship and your relationship dynamics. So Giselle's like, look, I don't want you to blame yourself. This isn't on you. Everyone in the situation when it happened, they're an adult and they are responsible for their actions. I agree. This is when Ashley brings up, like, I'm really, really, really feeling bad because Key was talking to me before all of that happened. And she was telling me about how, she thought he was going to propose. And it's making me feel like, he was going to propose soon. And because of the fight, like, it didn't happen. So Giselle's like, look, it's been enough time that's passed and we've built, have begun to build a relationship with her. So if you're concerned about it, just have a talk with her. So she's like, okay, yeah, I will. After that, we see everybody getting ready. Ashley's in her bikini, FaceTiming Josh. She's in her bikini, with her little cheeks out and stuff. And she's showing him. And he's like, oh, don't do that to me. Don't tempt me. And he lets her know that he misses her and he misses that smile. And they go back and forth about missing each other. And she tells us how, ever since getting to know each other, they've noticed how much they've had in common. And even though she's 6 years older than him, they get along really well. And that, one of the things that they have similar is their personality, and they love like easy jokes. So she likes, can't remember if she said mom jokes or dad jokes, but they like jokes and they send each other jokes every morning. After that, we see it's catamaran time. The ladies arrive and they are impressed. As far as I'm concerned, they should have used all of this time on the catamaran to show us the beauty of Panama, to show us the skyline, to show us the water, to show us the buildings, to show us various structures and landscape and architecture. Like, that's what I want to see. I don't want to sit down and have conversations about Mia and her sidekick. It's annoying to me. So Wendy's like, look, she tells us, unlike Mia's trip, like, this is an actual boat. There's places for you to move on this boat. Like, you can sit down or you could go to sleep and take a nap if you want to. There's an area designated for that. So Wendy also tells us that she's noticing that Karen seems a little off, that her energy isn't how it would normally be. And we see Karen, Stacy, and Giselle sitting in another area, and it is quiet over there. And Karen's like, look, I'm just quiet because I was nauseous. I was queasy. I personally feel like Karen is trying to stay out the mess. And I also feel like Karen has a lot on her mind. Like, whether she wanted to admit it or not, Karen was facing a serious charges, we'll say. So Jacqueline and Ashley are, doing a little flirty flirt here, flirty flirt there. Ashley takes her wrap off, her cheeks are out again, and they're talking about how great her body is and how, all she needs is some hips and blah, blah, blah. And Wendy and Mia are talking about the kids, and we see the different ladies taking pictures of each other, and it's a good vibe. So Giselle takes this time to bring up how Ashley felt like she might have ruined, a possible proposal for Kierna because of what happened with Deborah. And Kierna's like, look, there was no proposal plan, and if it had been at that point, it wouldn't have been good because we weren't ready for it. I feel like us moving into our home is our next step towards a proposal. So we'll see how that goes. I personally don't agree. I don't think that y'all moving in together is a step towards a proposal. I think y'all moving in together is just y'all moving in together. He seems to be one of those men who are testing you to see whether or not you're worthy of him. And I personally wouldn't have merged households like that where we're building a home together without having those discussions prior. Because Kierna in one breath will act like she's not rushing to get a ring, and then in another she'll say, like she said, where she hopes that by February or whenever their anniversary is in 3 years that he would propose. And if he doesn't, she'll reevaluate things. So Wendy alludes to knowing that a proposal wasn't or was on the table. Wendy, I don't like that. I don't feel like you should give her false hope or make her feel away. You don't know. I doubt that, Greg came to you and had a conversation with you about, that woman. I think he would have went to her brother or her mother before coming to you. But you all tell me what you think. So Kierna then takes the spotlight off of her and is like, let's talk about Mia and, Jacqueline and how they've been voyeurs for years. And Jacqueline's like, y'all, that was when I was 19. Mia has watched me. I have watched her, we saw each other, once with ink, but it's not like that. And Mia's like, oh, y'all want to see us kiss, and they kiss, and it's blah, 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 blah. I don't care. At this point, I am like Karen and Stacy, who do not want to have this conversation and can't understand why we keep on talking about these people and what they got going in their bedrooms. Over it. So I think somebody took out the canoe. We got a couple of aerial shots, some shots of the water. I wanted more. Y'all giving me 30 seconds here and there is not enough for me. I want more. Like, you can show me the water as they talk and it will be more bearable for me, because I love water. So we're back at the villa when Ashley and Jacqueline have this really, really cringy scene. Ashley, says that she's surprised that Jacqueline hasn't tried to kiss her. Girl, boo. Why are you wasting time on this, y'all? I want to see Panama. Come on. They did all these things and you showing me a conversation with Jacqueline and Ashley as she get ready about Ashley wanting to kiss her. It's just, it's weird. So Jacqueline's like, I respect you, Ashley, so much. And I was just afraid to ask you because, we're friends and I just didn't want to mess up the friendship. The way that they pecked, it's like, okay, y'all are really, really playing with us like this. You're doing like this, and that's it. And you're worried about messing up a friendship. I've accidentally kissed a friend on the side of the mouth when we went to kiss each other on the cheek before, and it lasted longer than like what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Really, what are we doing here? So Jacqueline's like, don't tell Mia or she'll be jealous. And of course, Ashley can't get to dinner fast enough to tell Mia. So we see they're back in the Sprinter on their way to dinner. Mia, is like, are we going to have fun? Or are we going to yell about things that happened 3 weeks ago? And the ladies didn't give her anything. I'm glad, because I thought it was going to turn into an argument and it didn't. They get to dinner and the kissing situation comes up again. How is this video longer than my last one? Because I have more to say. The kissing situation comes up again. Ashley's like, look, I, found myself being jealous of Mia and Jacqueline's dynamic. So I asked, her if I could kiss those soft lips. And, she let me. And Mia looks bothered and is like, these hoes ain't loyal. I know I'm not supposed to say hoes, but these hoes ain't loyal. So Karen tells us, like, is Ashley, Ashley needs to get a shot. Is she vaccinated? Because basically saying like how those ladies get down. Mia tells us that she should have been the first to know if Jacqueline kissed her. She doesn't understand why she's finding out like this. She should have found out if Jacqueline was going to be kissing on people. Jacqueline tells us that Mia always says things about her or says little shady things, and it's okay. It's not okay. In my opinion, that's not what friends do. Mia then says, like, Jacqueline went after the easiest person. That's a dig to Ashley. I wonder what Ashley's going to say when she sees all this. Ashley then starts, try to rub it in and joking and saying that, Jacqueline called her a better kisser. And Mia says, like, I know that's not true because I've kissed her, way more than she's kissed you. Next thing we know, because they're talking a little bit more, we don't care. The ladies walk off, they see some fireworks, and it's the next morning. We get some more shots of the island. So beautiful. Karen is sleeping in because she tells us that she's over the conversations about the girls and the kissing and all that other stuff. Giselle talks about how Jamal is getting married soon. The girls don't know the lady, and the lady is not in her league as far as looks. His new wife is pretty. Giselle, let's not lie. Maybe she's not in your league as far as your bank, but she's definitely in your league as far as looks. She has a beautiful shape. She has a beautiful face, and she kind of looks like you. Both of y'all are fair-complected women, and he apparently has a type. Jacqueline ends up calling Patrick because Wendy said that she should. I don't understand. Are they together or not? Tells him about kissing Ashley and kissing Mia. Wendy asks Mia, she's like, I got one question for you, Mia. Like, what's up with you going to Atlanta but not seeing your kids first when you were really, really worried about your kids? And she's like, they're fine. They're having fun on the farm and, enjoying the pool and the horseback riding, and they want to stay there longer, so I'm going to let them stay. I personally don't think that it was ever an issue. I think that Gordon is going to go along with Mia, though, because they need this check. Ashley's like, look, we may not agree with her choices to go and see Ink first or go to Atlanta first, but it is what it is. That's her decision. I personally want proof because Mia next says that, they're saying all this stuff, but I'm spread all over the place. My oldest lives in Atlanta, and I'm going to Atlanta to go to his basketball game. As I said, I want proof. The ladies end up doing a toast to getting closer, liberation, and Panama. And that is the end. If there's something that I left out that you want to talk about, feel free to put it down below. Like the video, as I said earlier, I think, because it helps the channel. Check out some of the other content. Go check out A Dose of Me. I told a little bit of my story, and I may be doing a little bit more of those based on how it's received. Thank you guys so much. Until next time.